Smolensk is a city and the administrative center of Smolensk Oblast, Russia, located on the Dnieper River, 360 kilometers west-southwest of the Moscow. Population, 326,861 euro, 2010 census. 325,137 euro, 2002 census. 341,483 euro, 1989 census. The walled city in the center of Smolensk was destroyed several times throughout its long history because it was on the invasion routes of both Napoleon and Hitler. Today, Smolensk is noted for electronics, textiles, food processing, and diamond faceting. Etymology: the name of the city is derived from the name of the Smolensk River. The origin of the river's name is less clear. One possibility is the Old Slavic word nth 1/4 th 3/4 th no for black soil, which might have colored the waters of the Smolensk. An alternative origin could be the Russian word nth 1/4 th 3/4 th degree, which means resin, tar, or pitch. Pine trees grow in the area, and the city was once a center of resin processing and trade. The Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII recorded its name as I to the first I to the first I 1/2 I to the first I florin I plus or minus. Geography: the city is located in European Russia on the banks of the upper Dnieper River, which crosses the city within the Smolensk upland, which is the western part of the Smolensk Moscow upland. The Dnieper River flows through the city from east to west and divides it into two parts, the northern and southern. Within the city and its surroundings the river takes in several small tributaries. In the valleys are stretched streets, high ridges, hills, and headlands form the mountain. Smolensk is situated on 7 hills. The old part of the city occupies the high, rugged left bank of the Dnieper River. The area features undulating terrain, with a large number of tributaries, creeks and ravines. History Medieval origins Smolensk is among the oldest Russian cities. The first recorded mention of the city was 863 AD, 2 years after the founding of ancient Rus. According to Russian Primary Chronicle, Smolensk was located on the area settled by the West Slavic Radimichs tribe in 882 when Oleg of Novgorod took it in passing from Novgorod to Kiev. The town was first attested 2 decades earlier, when the Varangian chieftains Iskold and Dur, while on their way to Kiev, decided against challenging Smolensk on account of its large size and population. The first foreign writer to mention the city was the Byzantine Emperor Constantine Porphyrogenitus. In De Administrando Imperio he described Smolensk as a key station on the trade route from the Varangians to the Greeks. The Rus people sailed from the Baltics up the western Dvina as far as they could, then they pulled their boats out onto the ground and dragged them along to the upper Dnieper. It was in Smolensk that they supposedly mended any leaks and small holes that might have appeared in their boats from being dragged on the ground, and they used tar to do that, hence the city name. The Principality of Smolensk was founded in 1054. Due to its central position amid Kievan Rus lands, the city developed rapidly. By the end of the 12th century, the princedom was one of the strongest in Eastern Europe, so that Smolensk dynasty frequently controlled the Kievan throne. Numerous churches were built in the city at that time, including the Church of St. Peter and Paul and Church of St. John the Baptist. The most remarkable church in the city is called Sverskaya. It was admired by contemporaries as the most beautiful structure to the east of Kiev. Smolensk had its own veche since the very beginning of its history. Its power increased after the disintegration of Kievan Rus, and although it was not as strong as the veche in Novgorod, the princes had to take its opinion into consideration. Several times in 12th and 13th centuries there was an open conflict between them. Between Russia, Lithuania, and Poland although spared by the Mongol armies in 1240, Smolensk paid tribute to the Golden Horde, gradually becoming a pawn in the long struggle between Lithuania and the Grand Duchy of Moscow. The last sovereign monarch of Smolensk was Yuri of Smolensk. During his reign the city was taken by Vytautas the Great of Lithuania on 3 occasions, in 1395, 1404, and 1408. After the city's incorporation into the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, Some of Smolensk's boyars moved to Vilnius. Descendants of the ruling princes fled to Moscow. With tens of thousands of people living there, Smolensk was probably the largest city in 15th-century Lithuania. 3 Smolensk regiments proved decisive during the Battle of Grunwald against the Teutonic Knights. It was a severe blow to Lithuania when the city was taken by Vasily III of Russia in 1514. To commemorate this event, the Tsar founded the Novodevichy convent in Moscow and dedicated it to the icon of Our Lady of Smolensk. In order to repel future Polish-Euro-Lithuanian attacks, Boris Godunov made it his priority to heavily fortify the city. The stone Kremlin constructed in 1597 (1602) is the largest in Russia. It features thick walls and numerous watchtowers. Heavy fortifications did not prevent the fortress from being taken by the Polish-Euro-Lithuanian Commonwealth in 1611 after a long 20-month siege, during the time of troubles and Demetriades. Weakened Muscovy temporarily ceded Smolensk land to the Commonwealth in the Truce of Dulino, and for the next 43 years it was the seat of Smolensk Voivodeship. To recapture the city, the Tsardom of Russia launched the so-called Smolensk War against the Commonwealth in 1632. After a defeat at the hands of King Ladislaw IV, the city remained in Polish-Euro-Lithuanian hands. In 1632, the Uniate Bishop Lucrezia built his apartments in Smolensk. They were later converted into the Orthodox Church of St. Barbara. The hostilities resumed in 1654 when the Commonwealth was being affected by the Khmelnytsky uprising and the Swedish invasion. After another siege, on September 23, 1654, Smolensk was recaptured by Russia. In the 1667 Truce of Andrusovo, the Polish-Euro-Lithuanian Commonwealth finally renounced its claims to Smolensk. Modern history Smolensk has been a special place to Russians for many reasons, not least for the fact that the local cathedral housed one of the most venerated Orthodox icons, attributed to St. Luke. Building the new Cathedral of the Assumption was a great project which took more than a century to complete. Despite slowly sinking into economic backwater, Smolensk was still valued by Tsars as a key fortress defending the route to Moscow. It was made the seat of Smolensk Governorate in 1708. In August 1812, 2 of the largest armies ever assembled clashed in Smolensk. During the hard-fought battle, described by Leo Tolstoy in War and Peace, Napoleon entered the city. Total losses were estimated at 30,000 men. Apart from other military monuments, central Smolensk features the Eagles Monument, unveiled in 1912 to mark the centenary of Napoleon's Russian campaign. At the beginning of World War I, the 56th Smolensk Infantry Division was first assigned to the First Army of the Imperial Russian Army. They fought at the Battle of Tannenberg. It was subsequently transferred to the 10th Army and fought at the Second Battle of the Masurian Lakes. In March 1918, while the city remained a part of Russia, Belarusian People's Republic, proclaimed in Minsk under the German occupation, declared Smolensk a part of it. In February-December 1918, Smolensk was home to the headquarters of the Western Front, Northwest Oblast Bolshevik Committee and Western Oblast Executive Committee. On January 1, 1919, the Byelorussian Soviet Socialist Republic was proclaimed in Smolensk, but its government moved to Minsk as soon as the German forces had been driven out of Minsk several days later. Soviet period After the revolution, for inclusion in its composition is claimed Smolensk Belarusian People's Republic and the Byelorussian SSR. Since April 1918 Smolensk was the center of the Western region, which is based on January 1, 1919, Byelorussian SSR was formed. January 7 BSSR government moved from Minsk and Smolensk already January 16, 1919 decision of the Central Committee of the RCP Smolensk region was transferred to the RSFSR. In 1920 was held the new provincial census, according to which the Russian population prevailed over Belarus, but the Belarusian party leadership until 1926 leaves no hope for the inclusion of Smolensk in the Belarusian SSR. In 1940, 18 kilometers from Smolensk, the Katyn Massacre occurred. During World War II, Smolensk once again saw wide-scale fighting during the First Battle of Smolensk when the city was captured by the Germans on July 16, 1941. The first Soviet counteroffensive against the German army was launched in August 1941 but failed. However, the limited Soviet victories outside the city halted the German advance for a crucial 2 months, granting time to Moscow's defenders to prepare in earnest. Camp 126 was situated close to Smolensk, and at this time Boris Menshagin was mayor of Smolensk, with his deputy Boris Basilevsky. Both of them would be key witnesses in the Nuremberg trials over the Katyn Massacre. Over 93% of the city was destroyed during the fighting. The ancient icon of Our Lady of Smolensk was lost. Nevertheless, it escaped total destruction. In late 1943, Gar Paragraph Ring had ordered Goethe that Heinrici to destroy Smolensk in accordance with the Nazi scorched earth policy. He refused and was punished for it. The city was finally liberated on September 25, 1943. The rare title of Hero City was bestowed on Smolensk after the war. After the Germans captured the city in 1941, they found the intact archives of Smolensk Oblast Committee of the Communist Party, the so-called Smolensk Archive. The archive was moved to Germany, and a significant part of it eventually ended up in the United States, providing Western scholars and intelligence specialists with unique information on the local workings of the Soviet government during its first 2 decades. The archives were returned to Russia by the United States in 2002. On April 10, 2010, a Tu-154 military jet carrying Polish President Lech Kaczynski, his wife, and many notable political and military figures crashed in a wooded area near Smolensk while approaching the local military airport. All 96 passengers died immediately on impact. The purpose of the visit was to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Katyn Massacre, in which some 22,000 Polish POWs were murdered by the NKVD. In 2013, archaeologists of the Russian Academy of Sciences discovered and unearthed in the ancient temples in Smolensk dated to middle to second half of the 12th century, built on the left bank at the time the city was the capital of Smolensk Principality. From unique object-preserved walls in some places low, in of height of human growth. In September 2013, Smolensk widely celebrated the 1150th anniversary with funds spent on different construction and renovation projects in the city. In celebration, Central Bank of Russia issued commemorative coins made of precious metals. Administrative and municipal status, Smolensk serves as the administrative center of the oblast and, within the framework of administrative divisions, it also serves as the administrative center of Smolensky district, even though it is not a part of it. As an administrative division, it is incorporated separately as Smolensk Urban Okrug, an administrative unit with the status equal to that of the districts. As a municipal division, this administrative unit also has Urban Okrug status. Climate. Economy. Smolensk has several factories including the Smolensk aviation plant and several electronics and agricultural machinery factories. Transportation. Smolensk is located on the M1 main highway and main railway between Moscow and Minsk. Since 1870, there is a railway connection between Smolensk and Moscow. Local public transport includes buses and trolleybuses. Public transportation network includes buses, trolleybuses, trams, and marshrutkas. There are 2 airports located in the outskirts of the city: Smolensk South and Smolensk North. However, there are no regular flights scheduled to Smolensk South Airport. Education. Smolensk is home to the Smolensk State University and the Smolensk State Medical University, together with colleges of further education and other educational institutes. Smolensk is home for many foreign students including Indians, Japanese, Sri Lankans and few others. Among them Indians are with highest count of population. Smolensk is a great site for pursuing medical education. International relations. Twin towns and sister cities. Smolensk is twinned with Tulle, France, Hagen, Germany, Colorado Springs, Colorado, USA, /Kerch, Ukraine, Russia, Targovishte, Bulgaria, Woodstock, Georgia, USA. Notable people: Sergei Belovenets, chess master, theoretician, and chess journalist; Alexander Belyaev, science fiction writer; Peter Fishman, sculptor; Yuri Gagarin, cosmonaut; Mikhail Glinka, composer; Elizaveta Golovanova, Miss Russia 2012; Natalia Ischenko, swimmer; Anatoly Kurlampov, founder of Sambo; Duard Kil, singer; Patriarch Kirill of Moscow, religious leader; Sergei Komenkov, sculptor; Semyon Lavochkin, aircraft designer; Maria Utkina, runner; Anatoly Lukyanov, politician; Morris Markin, businessman and founder of Checker Motors Corporation; Grigory Maximov, politician; Grigory Potyomkin, statesman; Alexandr Tvardovsky, writer; Olga Vronitz, mezzo-soprano folk singer. Honours: Smolensk Strait between Livingston Island and Deception Island in the South Shetland Islands, Antarctica is named after the city. See also, Battle of Orsha. References. Notes Sources TH 1 quarter TH 1 half THNN on Euro TH degree NTHN TH 1 quarter TH 3 quarters TH micron TH 1 half NTH 3 quarters TH to the first TH 3 quarters TH plus or minus TH degree NNTH. Pi 3 quarters NNTH degree TH 1 half TH 3 quarters TH squared TH micron TH 1 half TH micro a minus 261 TH 3 quarters N30 TH degree THN euro TH micron THN 2008 TH cubed. A TH plus or minus N florin NTH squared TH micron N euro TH paragraph TH micron TH 1 half TH N euro TH micron NN on euro TH degree TH 1 quarter TH 1 half THNN on euro TH degree NTH squared TH 1 half TH 3 quarters NTH micron N euro THN TH 3 quarters N euro TH degree TH knoweth 1 half N on TH micron TH 1 half THN TH micron N euro THN TH 3 quarters N euro TH degree TH knoweth 1 half N on TH micron TH 1 half THN TH 1 quarter TH 3 quarters TH micron TH 1 half N TH 3 quarters TH to the first TH 3 quarters TH plus or minus TH degree NN TH squared N euro TH micron TH. Pi 3 quarters NNTH degree TH 1 half TH 3 quarters TH squared TH micron TH 1 half THNA minus 464 TH 3 quarters N27 THN TH 1 half N 2014 TH cubed. A TH squared TH 1 half TH micron NTH micron TH 1 half TH 1 quarter TH micron TH 1 half TH micron TH 1 half TH to the first TH squared N euro TH micron NN on euro TH degree TH 1 quarter TH 1 half TH NN on euro TH degree NTH squared TH 1 half TH 3 quarters NTH micron N euro THN TH 3 quarters N euro TH degree TH knoweth 1 half N on TH micron TH 1 half TH. NTH micron N euro THN TH 3 quarters N euro TH degree TH knoweth 1 half N on TH micron TH 1 half THN TH 1 quarter TH 3 quarters TH micron TH 1 half N TH 3 quarters TH to the first TH 3 quarters TH plus or minus TH degree NN TH a TH N florin TH plus or minus TH 3 quarters TH squared TH degree TH 1 half TH degree TH degree TH degree TH 1 half TH 1 half. N on THSH 3 quarters TH 1 half NN florin TH 9th degree TH 1 half N TH NN, th 1/4 th 3/4 th micron th 1/2 n th to the first th cubed th 3/4 n euro th 3/4 th n th 3/4 th to the first th 3/4 th squared th micron n th micron n th micron th 1/2 th micro a minus 164 th 3/4 n 28 th 3/4 th n on th plus or minus n euro n 2005 th cubed. A q n th degree th squared th cubed th 3/4 n euro th 3/4 th degree th 1/4 th 3/4 th micron th 1/2 n th degree a th squared n euro th micron th micron n th micron th 1/2 th n a minus 1419 th 3/4 n 29 th 1/4 th degree n 2015 th cubed. A th squared th 1/2 th micron n th micron th 1/2 th 1/4 th micron th 1/2 th micron th 1/2 th to the first th squared th q n th degree th squared th cubed th 3/4 n euro th 3/4 th degree th 1/4 th 3/4 th micron th 1/2 n th degree a th n on florin th squared n th n florin n th 3/4 th 1/2 n th 3/4 n th nth degree th knoweth 1/2 th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th 3/4 th n florin th plus or minus th 3/4 th squared th degree th 1/2 th n th degree th n th n n th micron th 1/2 th micron th 1/4 th 3/4 th 3/4 th paragraph th micron th 1/2 th to the first th n th 3/4 n th 3/4 n euro n on n florin n n th degree th 1/2 th 3/4 th squared th micron th 1/2 n th 1/2 n th micron n n euro th 3/4 th squared n n on florin th micron th 1/2 th n th squared n th n florin th n florin th plus or minus th 3/4 th squared th degree th 1/2 th 1/4 th 3/4 th micron th 1/2 n th micron th 1/2 th 3/4 th squared th 3/4 n n th a minus 71 22 th micron th degree th plus or minus n euro n 2005 th cubed, as amended by the decision number 1419 of May 29, 2015 on amending the Charter of the City of Smolensk. Effective as of the day of the official publication, with the exception of the clauses for which other dates of taking effect are specified. External links: Russian, official website of Smolensk, Russian, travel in Smolensk, Russian, Smolensk News, Russian, Smolensk Wiki, Russian, homepage of the Smolensk Fortress, some photos of the Smolensk Fortress, more photos of Smolensk, historic images of Smolensk, Russian, basketball in Smolensk, Russian, news of Smolensk sport, Russian, news of Smolensk medicine, the murder of the Jews of Smolensk during World War II, at Yad Vashem website.